Hey, everybody. Once again, welcome to TNTT. That's Truth, Not Trash with Tim. Usually we're doing this on Tuesdays. I got a new work schedule. I'm working from 10 at night to 6 in the morning, so I'm trying to readjust everything that I got going on. It's mid-afternoon on Tuesday. Couldn't sleep, figured I better get up and get this done because I'm probably going to fall asleep, and then, heck, you know how that goes. Once you're out until it's time to go to work. But I just wanted to get with you guys, and I didn't want to miss a week, and I want to talk to you some more about this VF stuff. And so recently there was an article out from a guy by the name of Dino Rossi. I'm just going to get right into it because there's no need to beat around the bush. So Dino Rossi puts out this article in this video, and this guy is a guy that legitimately had an election stolen from him. Legitimately. I mean, we hear about those California congressmen who the Republicans were ahead on election night and into the next day or two, and then all of a sudden a recount happens. A few hundred extra votes just show up out of the blue 2 weeks later, and it always goes in favor of the Democrats. Always, never goes in favor of the Republicans. I mean, that in itself should show us one thing, that that something's not right. That people are putting more votes in, that are there people are manufacturing things. Once they see what the results are going to be, they know how many they got to come up with. Michigan ballots, mail-in ballots that didn't have a crease or a fold in them. How is that possible? You guys have all seen your mail-in ballots here in Washington. You cannot mail in your ballot without folding it. Pretty simple. It comes folded. How do you have a mail-in ballot that's not folded? Ballots that only have one name checked on them, Joe Biden, and none of the other down ballots, none of the other races, none of the other initiatives checked. Is that realistic? I mean, anybody with an open mind and common sense can look at this and say, okay, something's not right. Ballots being counted after people were sent home, the watchers were sent home. You saw the video. We've all seen the video. I can try and find the link and post it for you guys if you want. But we've seen the video. We've seen what's happened in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and even in other states. In Washington, it's just an accepted fact that Republicans aren't going to win. It's just accepted in Washington state, which is just amazing to me. So Dino Rossi comes out. He ran for governor a few years back, and he won. He won the election. And then the Democrats filed for a recount. And Dino Rossi won again and again. And they kept recounting and recounting and recounting till he finally lost. Kept recounting till he finally lost. Extra votes kept showing up, and they were always in favor of Gregoire. Always in favor of the Democrat opponent. And so this is an amazing thing. It happens more often than not. More often than not. Dozens of seats in the 2018 election should have went Republican, that went Democrat, that were Republican on election day and election night, and Republicans were winning going into recounts, and in every single case, the Democrat ended up being the victor if it was changed. Never did a close race that a Democrat was barely ahead in, did that race change over to the Republican in a recount. So that in itself has to tell us something. If mistakes are mistakes, right? But if it was truly mistakes, wouldn't it go in both directions? Wouldn't sometimes the fix favor the Republicans and sometimes the fix would favor the Democrats? I'm not saying the fix isn't something wrong. The fix is in finding a problem and correcting it. If it wasn't intentional, it would not always go in one direction. That's what I'm trying to say. And so here's the link, and we'll pull this up, and I'll put it in the share. Here you go. Actually, let me make this big for you. So Dino Rossi explains how Democrats stole his election and how they're trying to steal this one. And they're doing a good job of it, you guys. They're doing a good job of it. I was watching Fox News the other night. Don't hate me. I still believe that Fox News is probably one of our best options out there. But we had that guy. What was the guy's name that did the debate? He was just on the tip of my tongue. and everybody hated him. He was talking with a person about the election, and the person said, former Vice President Biden, and he immediately interrupted and said, "You mean President-elect Joe Biden?" And I was just blown away, because guess what? He's not president-elect yet. The media has declared him that, and they're trying to push this narrative, and they're trying to convince us to continue to believe that narrative. But that's not the truth. That is not the truth. He's not currently the president-elect. Still working on it, right? And we're still working on making sure he's not, because this is going to be one of the most disastrous 6-month presidencies we're ever going to see before he resigns or he's deemed mentally unstable. I don't know if you saw some of the context. He messed up his own cabinet picks earlier today while announcing them. Just unreal. And I'm not trying to bash the guy for being old and a little absent-minded and losing. I mean, I'm forgetting stuff already. I'm only 52. I can't imagine. And so I'm not beating him up for that. But the fact is that they drug him kicking and screaming across the finish line. He didn't tell us what he believed in. He didn't campaign. He didn't work for it. And yet he got it. He got it according to the media. He got it according to a lot of these votes out there that we don't know where they came from. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of votes. You add all the states together, and it could be in the millions of votes that went, for some reason, in the direction of Biden. They were doing voting machine forensics, and they're finding that for every one vote for Trump, only it counted an 83% vote for Trump, and the other percentage, so what is that, 17% of a Trump vote went towards a Biden vote, but 100% of Biden votes went towards Biden. So if you do those percentages over an extended period of time, you can see where that 3 to 5% that they thought they were going to lose by was made up and exceeded and pushed in the other direction, just by a small percentage error or an inputted directive part of the software that just changed a percentage of each vote. And those are things that are coming out. Now, I don't know that to be factual. That's what's being alleged. That's what's being brought up in the courts. Those are some of the things. But once again, listen to this video by Dino Rossi. It's enlightening. You're gonna learn something from it. And but Washington State is in the same predicament. We've just been Democrat for so long, we don't realize we're being screwed. We don't realize that it's being stolen from us because it's a given. We've accepted it, and we don't have to accept it. We can figure out a way to vote in person. We can figure out a way to beat this system, and we can figure out a way to make it legitimate. So watch the Dino Rossi thing. Something else that I wanted to talk about was last night on Tucker Carlson. Holy cow. You talk about a bombshell. Man. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to see this because for 4 years now, they've been telling us that the election of Donald Trump was illegitimate, that Russia colluded with Donald Trump, that Russia infiltrated the voting machines, that Russia infiltrated the technology and Facebook and Twitter and all these, and they had bots, and they were out there convincing people to vote in a certain way based on their profiles. They were only pushing certain things to get people to propaganda. That's what it is. They said that they were pushing propaganda. Where was the real propaganda? It was the Democrat Party. That's where it was. Where was the real Russian collusion? That was Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Party. I'm not trying to dig up old facts, but the facts are still relevant because they're still trying to push that. So 2 years ago, you saw last weekend when I showed you how the Democrats and that senator from Oregon, along with a bunch of other Democrats in 2018, really did not like mail-in voting and machine voting. And they were the ones trying to get rid of it because they thought it was fraudulent, and that's the only reason Trump won. Now, all of a sudden, it's not a problem, is it? Joe Biden got more votes than any person that ever ran for president. Tell me how that's factual. I'm going to raise your taxes. I'm going to destroy the oil industry. I'm going to make everybody wear a face mask, and nobody knows what I stand for when it comes to court packing, when it comes to religion, when it comes to finances, when it comes to anything. And my family's an extremely corrupt family that has gotten into a lot of their fingers in a lot of pockets around the world, which those are all facts. They're not disputed. I'm not saying his whole family's corrupt. I'm just saying that there's enough there that you're telling me that 80 million people said, yes, raise my taxes. Yes, destroy the oil industry. Yes, make my energy costs skyrocket to where I can't afford it. You're telling me 80 million people saw that and said, I'm voting for that guy. He's my kind of guy. That's just not right. That's not real. It's fictitious, and it's all based on propaganda. But back to Fox and Tucker Carlson. You know, yeah, the hard news portion of Fox has bent and almost broken, I think, in some cases, especially on election night with the Arizona call and some other things that are going on with the debate performance. Yeah, we got some issues there, and I hope Fox News fixes that because they're going to keep losing people to Newsmax. They're going to keep losing people to OAN. They're going to keep losing people to these online sites, and I don't mind losing them. I don't mind them going there. As a matter of fact, I think we should look at as many different news articles and websites as we can and make our own decisions based on what we see and hear and what we feel about it. I feel like there was voter problems. I feel like ballots were cast illegally. I feel I can look at this and just see it from a farmer's perspective. Walks like a duck, talks like a duck, must be a darn duck, right? So I see that. So back to, I keep getting off on tangents, but Tucker Carlson, man, I'm just going to bring it up real quick. He says that for 4 years, they've been preaching Russia, 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 right? Give me a second. I'm pulling it up while I'm talking. Russia, Russia, Russia. But who is the real adversary in this whole thing? Well, first of all, it's the Democrat Party. That's who the real adversary is, because they believe that the ends justifies the means. If they have to steal an election, if they have to beat people up, if they have to burn down buildings and loot stores, if they have to riot in the streets, if they have to kill people, the Democrat Party and the deep state believe that it's okay to do so as long as the ends are what they're trying to accomplish. So here's Tucker Carlson, and I'm not going to play the video for you. You can play it, and I'll put a link up in there. Actually, you know what? I think I might give that a shot. Hang on for a second. Let me see if it works the way I would like it to work. I haven't tried to do this before. Let's see here. I don't know if it'll give us audio if I do this, though. So I am just going to give it a shot.
Attack on Pearl Harbor. That was the day that we entered the Second World War. It seems like a good time.
So Tucker Carlson is talking. Tucker Carlson's talking about what we need to be thinking about.
Russia has penetrated our government. Russia threatens our democracy. Russia works tirelessly to subvert our economy and our way of life.
Let me see if I can make that bigger.
The day Donald Trump was elected in 2016, they have told us this. Their endlessly complex, serialized collusion hoax dominated our public conversation for years. Of course, it was a lie, and we're all aware of that. Russia never had the power or the money to
control
our government, and there's no evidence.
And so hopefully you can hear this. I don't know if you can or not. I'm just going to pause it now so you get the ticket.
That there was no collusion.
He's saying that, yes, there was collusion, but it wasn't Russia necessarily. It was China, and it was internal. And it was the people who are in charge of our country. And then when Trump finally took over, when Trump won, when we got a candidate that fought the system, that didn't accept the deep state, that didn't accept the foreign collusion, that didn't accept the foreign influence, then China made it known that they had to get rid of Donald Trump. And they wanted a pawn. They wanted a puppet on a string. And who's that puppet? Well, that's Joe Biden. Barely can think for himself, barely coherent at this point in time. I feel bad for the guy. But that's Joe Biden. And China's going to take thorough advantage of this. And they're going to use it. And then when Joe Biden goes away, they'll have instituted this entire cabinet of leftists, Marxists, and well, people who believe in the Great Reset, and people who believe in the New World Order and the Agenda 2030. We'll talk about that next week. Agenda 2030. I saw I saw a commercial the other day. I want to say it was put out by the United Nations, and it had a young guy, probably in his mid to late 20s, and he had a clean cut beard, and he was smiling, and he says, "Welcome to 2030. I don't own anything, and I'm happy." They're trying to take what you've worked hard for. They're trying to crush our economy. This is what the COVID's about. This is what the COVID's about. Well, we can talk about that a little bit too. I mean, overall deaths overall are similar to what they've been for the last 3, 5, 8 years. They're not extravagantly higher, and they're definitely not 300,000 people higher. I mean, COVID single-handedly cured heart disease and the flu, right? Because nobody's dying of that stuff anymore, according to the CDC. So that's part of it. Tear it down so we can build it the way we want to build it. What do they call it? Build back better. Really? I don't think so, guys. I mean, that's not a Biden thing. Biden stole that from the UN, and the UN got it from China, and it was probably some misinterpreted garbage that somebody put out in a different language and didn't know what was going on, and that's why it sounds so funny. So my grandson's trying to get in the room right now, so we're going to wrap this up pretty quick. But that's where it's at. So build back better, huh? Come on, let's think about this. Check out the Tucker Carlson video. Check out the Dino Rossi video. Once again, I'm not here to try to convince you of anything. I'm just here to show you some things that I've seen and some directions that my mind is pulling me in, giving me the beliefs that I have. I don't have a tinfoil hat on. Maybe I'll make one for the next episode. I don't know. But it sure smells funny. It sure does smell funny, right? So something else I want to talk about. My pocket, I think I left it in the truck. Wow, I was amazed. I saw something the other day that said something like in the low 70% range of people asked don't remember learning any significant things. And when I say significant, spending significant time learning anything about the founding of our nation and our Constitution in school and in college, unless they specifically studied those certain things, obviously, but somewhere in the low 70%, or don't remember ever even reading the Constitution. So what I propose is that what I would like to do is over the next couple weeks, I'm going to do a separate video, and I am going to talk about the Constitution. I'm not going to interpret it. Okay, I'll take that back. I might interpret it a little bit based on my own beliefs and my own thoughts and my own experience. 35, 38 years of traveling the world and seeing other countries, knowing that our nation is the greatest nation on earth, that it is that beacon on a hill. So it's important that we do this stuff. So I'm going to read a section. We'll start with the preamble, then we'll go down to the different articles, and we'll go down to the different sections, and we'll just choose one, and we'll start at the top and work our way all the way through the amendments and everything. And so this might take us a couple weeks. Some of the discussions might be an hour long. Some of the discussions might be 20 minutes long. But I'm going to do the whole thing, and we're going to read it as written, and then together we're going to try to figure out what was meant by it. See, I believe that what was meant is what was said. Say what you do what you say. Honor, integrity. Those are the things. And then if we get questions and we have concerns, then we got places to look. We've got places to look. The Founding Fathers wrote many, many articles, put many, many newspaper ads out, did all kinds of things to make sure that the people understood what the Constitution was. So we're going to start that here in the next few days. So watch for that. Once again, check out the 2 videos that we talked about today. Oh, also, Lauren, side note, it's not side note, it's part of the whole thing, and I just forgot to mention it. Lauren Culp's campaign manager and his lawyer here in Washington State, and this might have an effect on my election, I don't know. But they're claiming upwards around 800,000 ballots were cast and counted that were not Washington residents, not American citizens, people who didn't have the right to vote, duplicate ballots, ballots of people that weren't even registered voters. They're claiming that they've got evidence of close to 800,000. So I'd like to see that. I would recommend that you go out to Lauren Culp's Facebook page, web page, YouTube page, and listen to what Lauren, Chris Gergen, his campaign manager, and their attorney, whose name escapes me, what he has to say about it. And once again, make your own decisions. Don't depend on me to tell you what's going on. I can give you what I see, but I can't convince you, or I can't be your thoughts. Anyway, it was great talking to you again. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. This is all brand new. Every week I'm getting a little better. I'm learning a little bit more. We're going to try to do a little bit more live stuff, and I'm going to start those Constitution videos, and we're going to go through the whole thing before we stop. All right. Text me, email me, hit up on the comment section and let me know what you think. But like, subscribe, and let's grow this thing, and let's continue moving forward, and let's make America great again. All right. God bless you, and God bless America.